Yeah, I did not expect much people on Easter Sunday, but I still want to get that video out. And for the people that did want to join on this Sunday, Easter holiday, I didn't want to just do a regular video outside of that. So, as this is the end of the month, not just doing a post-week analysis, but a full monthly analysis of the price action. And you got to remember that how we trade, there's so much things that we can leave up to discretion, right? So we want to keep it as simple as possible to gain our understanding. First things first, well, let's look at the month's price action. As you can see from the lines I drew out, this is the month of March, if I can say it right, of March. And I'm going to concentrate on the basic things, which are what? Power of 3, and just basic price action, which are cracks in correlation. So for example, here you can see our monthly candle on NASDAQ, and right here to the right, you have ES. What did we do? Well, we accumulated near open, high resistance for a while. Why were the conditions so high resistance? Because we weren't following. We had cracks in correlation everywhere. The indices weren't following each other. We weren't trading in correlated markets. So in conditions like these, scalps will do much better. But getting at mid-March, precisely mid-March, we swept this external liquidity, which was the low previous to the monthly, so not the previous month low, but the low previously, and inside this fair value gap right here, if I just mark it out correctly. And what confirmed our idea that this would then push higher and go target external range liquidity? Very simple. We had SMT. As you can see, right? ES was way more bullish the whole start of the month until the 15th, and then both ran towards external. As we can see, ES displaced through that high while NASDAQ didn't. So very simple monthly analysis. I'm keeping it short and sweet. Were there a lot of opportunities the first 2 weeks of the month? Not much. They were more on the scalping side, more than trending days and day trading. This manipulation lower was very beautiful in a 4-hour chart, but that was our objective. We reached that, then we started displacing higher. Volume balance right here, inverted, created displacement with the fair value gap, and now for the last week of March, we've just been digging back inside that fair value gap while ES is pushing higher. Now, as I said, keep it super simple. That's all there's going to be for the month, and we haven't had an open yet, so I'm actually going to remove the monthly power of 3 for now, because we're opening right at 5 p.m. in an hour from now. So what do I see right now, right? Because I'm not going to go in depth about last week's analysis, as we've just seen the whole month, and this was just a retracement to a close of 20 to 30% of the monthly range. If I draw it out, might be a little useful for you guys. Same settings as TGIF. Let me just reverse that. See, we had a retracement even past 30%. I believe we almost reached equilibrium. If I just mark it out, almost reached equilibrium on NASDAQ. But now, getting into the next week, what is the first thing that pops to mind? Well, same thing, right? This low resistance liquidity, even though there was SMT between these lows right here, right? If I just mark it out like this, you'll see, right? SMT right here. This liquidity still exists, is still there, but it is to be referred to later. And if I have a 20-day IPDA, so let's say I have a little indicator, all 2 degrees, by the way. So anchored IPDA ranges, IPDA look back, there we go. And yes, ugly colors, I'll change it really quickly. Premium and discount. As you can see, those are IPDA 20 lows, right? So what would I like to see then if I'm looking at this low resistance liquidity to be targeted on ES, which would count as a reversal on NASDAQ? Well, I want to see SMT at the highs, right? You can clearly see it forming at this exact moment. You can start to anticipate SMT forming here, right? Why? Look at the proximity. If I show that as a dotted line right here, and I draw the same external range liquidity on NASDAQ, you can see the difference. NASDAQ has to do a 255 handle move, while ES has to go 20 handles, which is quite customary, right? ES will always move less. It is less volatile. Points are calculated differently in the contracts, but I would like to see SMT form at those levels. For example, NASDAQ taking out this specific high right here, which formed a swing high on NASDAQ while it didn't on ES. I'd like to see this form in regards to SMT after this being taken out. So if I draw this out really quickly, I'd like to see this on NASDAQ right here. And I'd like to see ES take that out and then at least retrace towards the internal order block. Do I know if it's going to keep going up after? No. Do I know if it's going to start going down? No. We're getting into a next quarter. This next week will move very much. We have NFP, first week of the month, first week of the quarter. But what have we been doing since the beginning of the year? Just going up. I need a manipulation. I need a low on a yearly candle, right? And yes, we did retrace aggressively on the first few days of January, but I am not ready yet to count this as a low, especially with all this low resistance liquidity remaining here, all open, ready for the taking, right? What I see is we are waiting for SMR. And if we go deeper into standard deviations of that manipulation leg from, this is January, right? This is end of December, beginning January. So if I use this as a manipulation leg, I could even be more precise and only use all the way to Tuesday, which was January, and the rest wasn't. So right here, you'll see that we have yet to complete our move for standard deviation, right? We have yet to do so on ES if we look at the include the wicks, but if we only look at the bodies, which is where the majority of the trading happens, you'll see that, hey, we're done. And if you look towards NASDAQ, you'll see that we tapped into our reversal range, specifically at the high form right here. But why didn't we start going down aggressively? Because we didn't have any cracks in correlation. We need SMT to be able to top and bottom. So if this is truly to be a top, we'll see SMT form as described. I don't want to go too in depth about it because it is another week where, especially on the first week of each month, right, you're waiting and you're being more picky about what you're willing to take. As I say a lot with my NFP protocol, if I make money on Monday or Tuesday, right, I'm just out for the week. I'm taking 1 or 2 R. Sometimes I'll have a great trader. I'll be up 5, 6 R. I'm just done for the week. And I'm studying what is going on and always keeping in mind the next monthly power of 3. The first 2 weeks will be centered around accumulation and manipulation. NFP is a very high impact news. We could see the high of the month being formed there. So best case scenario, we go down early week. NFP brings us up here and then we keep going down, or even better, we go down a little Monday, start of Tuesday reverses aggressively higher, Thursday, Wednesday, and then NFP just throws us down to the moon. And I would favor ES on these, specifically targeting these equal lows, relative equal lows, which are pretty far from our current range. They're definitely not right next to them. 200 handles, 185 handles on ES is a big move. But once you start getting towards these liquidity, we're just going to accelerate and close through them. So the main inefficiency I'm going to be looking at will be this fair value gap. And more specifically, if we don't have SMT form at these highs, right, as I noted before, I am going to be looking for longs. Because when you're bullish, there's nothing worse than trying to short every single top you think it's making. Right now, standard deviations, SMT, it would make sense, and also time, right? A new month, new quarter, it would make sense to have a shift. So how? Taking out those highs, shifting lower, and validating this inefficiency on NASDAQ. I can't really trust this fair value gap on NASDAQ because it could dive in lower into this order block and then still go higher, because since Nasdaq is the weaker asset, I don't necessarily expect it to respect an equilibrium in efficiency. So on Nasdaq, I'm going to be concentrating on this order block if I'm looking for longs. I'm also going to have here, I'm going to start syncing all of my drawings, because I am going to place my mean threshold. I want to see that on my charts. So this is 157. Here, just mark it out manually. It is 157 and 25 and a quarter. 57 and a quarter. I'm going to be looking at this. Just want to make sure it has not been updated. Here, I'll just do it manually. 157 and a quarter right here. I have, let me just mark it out correctly. I have daily order block mean threshold. So plus order block mean threshold from a daily chart. That's how I mark all my levels. I'm actually going to do that right now as well for the order block. I like to have those lines already pre-established on my chart, because if you start looking at 5 charts at the same time, you're going to get confused. So for example, I don't need to look at my daily chart until the end of each day, right? When I'm going to be looking at that daily candle and everything, of course. But until then, I have all the levels I'll ever need. They'll show up on my lower time frame charts as well if I'm looking for specifics. If I'm looking to draw the quarters, then I'll draw the quarters, right? But for now, I just have order block, mean threshold. If I see a reaction above this, then I'm going to look at quarters, see more of that. But as I said, it's a very simple one, very, very quick call, right? What happened this month? Consolidation, accumulation, SMT at the lows, then expansion towards external. ES, same thing. We just didn't have a manipulation, but we had SMT. ES was stronger, all the way towards external. I don't need to move from a daily chart from this. What are we going to see this week? I want to see this SMT confirm. And if we dive into what we didn't do, actually, which would be a good idea, what news do we have this week? Right? Because I was talking about NFP week. It's the first week of the month. So we have NFP on Friday. We have Monday news, PMI, manufacturing PMI. We have JOLTS on Tuesday, so 10 a.m. news as well. On Wednesday, we had Powell speaking, PMI, services PMI this time, and of course the ADP non-farm employment change, which we disregard. So Powell speaking during lunch. We'll wait until after lunch, but at that point, it is no longer a good opportunity. So trading days this week are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. I'm, of course, going to be watching the price action for the other days, possibly demo trading, but I know that it is very low probability to be trading those days, so I'm going to be concentrating on that. So now that we understand that trading days this week are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and those are the high volatility days, then what will I like to see? Exactly what I said. Monday, dive in deeper, right? Do I have a clear objective? Not really. I have this order block, which I'm going to be looking at. Sorry, this one. And halfway of this range right here. And then on ES, I'm going to be looking for a respect of any of the levels within this wick or a sweep of this low, which could just confirm this. We sweep this, bring us higher, creating SMT, and then diving deeper. Right? Just once you start to incorporate these things from your economic calendar to what you want to see in price, and incorporating weekly profiles into that as well, like a consolidation reversal profile, then I would like to see high of the week being formed on Tuesday or Friday. Simple as that. So in my eyes, it's either a classic buy week, and then starting next week and the week after we start going down aggressively, or we're going to be looking for an end of the week reversal to go lower and early week consolidation. So maybe a little nice move down on Monday, Tuesday consolidation, Wednesday consolidate to expansion higher, Tuesday creating high, starting to expand lower. That's what I want to see. So very simple analysis. No need to go in any other time frames. Very simple monthly analysis as well from the previous month. And we can take a look very quickly at DXY, for example. I am starting to analyze oil, which I will probably be adding to my my repertoire real quick, and we'll be doing weekly analysis on oil included very soon. So hopefully that can come. Right, I'm just gonna mark out a few things. Right, what is the first thing you see? This liquidity, we're displacing higher. As you can see, we're displacing past this level as well, which is what? A bullish breaker right here. So we have started to form clear, if I can say, like that clear market structure. We're bullish on DXY, we're continuing higher, we did not have to go higher than this, and we look to be expanding towards this high. So if we break this high, it's clearly going to be a bullish at least quarter for the dollar. But as we understand, we're starting April, we're due for a shift. We did have a shift right here. Where's the final liquidity of that shift? This high. So if we sweep this high, displace lower, we could see higher prices on the year. Usually election years are bullish years for the dollar, I believe, for indices and the dollar. So they're just not very nice to be taken care of, I guess. So if we look last year, bearish on the dollar, well, that was COVID. So it's pretty much beforehand. So 2016, we had a lot of accumulation, and then bullish on the dollar for the end of 2016. And going further than that is not really useful. But let's say I go right here. We started right here in for 2012. A lot of consolidation, and then an expansion at the end of the year, right? So we are usually very bullish, and when I say usually, I mean high probability of us going for higher prices, but high probability of what as well? A lot of fucking consolidation, right? So if we keep going up right now, we'll see how the yearly candle develops. But right here, as you can see, we opened without forming a low, so it looks like we're forming a high to then start going lower, which would let indices be bullish for the year. We will see, right? It's still too early to tell. The next 2 weeks will be very defining weeks for the coming quarter. So yeah, very simple. Any questions around the analysis? As I said, I kept it simple, only saying it on a daily chart, but that's all I need. I'm looking for a short on Monday if I can get a nice setup, or along towards this external on ES, forming SFD. Awesome. Well, on this beautiful Easter, I hope you guys have a great time with your families. Yeah, ready to see a setup. So you guys have a great holiday, great weekend, and enjoy your time with your families. Because once you start spending so much time on your charts, you see them less. So enjoy it while it lasts. All right, have a good one, guys. It was a pleasure.